All right, we're live. Crown Council Live. What's up? Merry
Good
Christmas.
day.
Happy good day. Happy holidays. We are surrounded. This is the holidays edition of Crown Council Live. We're grateful to be together. If you're watching us, obviously, Steve, welcome, Steve.
Hey, everybody.
You're branded with a new logo today.
I am. I got my Eagle U, everything Eagle U today. Eagle U shirt, Eagle U logo, Eagle. It's all things Eagle today. And we're going to get the opportunity to meet a number of Eagles, including Taylor Lowe, director of Eagle U, and one of my best friends and co-presenter at Eagle U, Matt Granados. Matt has been part of our Eagle U faculty, Matt, for the last 10 years?
Yep.
Last 10 years, we get an opportunity to talk about that as well. So we're going to have some fun today. And we have some other guests coming on as well.
Yeah, so we're doing all Eagle U today. If you have caught the drift of what's happening, specifically, we're going to focus on setting goals, right? That's what we're going to talk about today, what it means to set. Perfect time for setting goals. Let's do it. Matt, first you got to tell us about your setup. Beautiful, wonderful mic. Are you that doesn't just happen by chance. What's going on here?
So this is the Rodecaster, right? If we're putting ads in there. No, this is a microphone that we used. My wife, Maria, and I, Maria will be involved in the story as well. We started a podcast years ago. And of course, in order to start a podcast, I'm a techie guy. I wanted the fun stuff. So we got what we needed. And
you probably got more than what you needed. Yeah. Overkill.
Yes, absolute overkill. But if you need sound effects, I got a board for you.
Oh, great. We'll call for those later. We're going to call for sound effects later. Very cool. Hey, a couple quick announcements before we go into our show. Most importantly, right now, annual event, all things. We're a month. We have actually a giant countdown clock. Someone bought.
What is it today?
I don't look at it. It just it ups my blood pressure. So I think we're
less than 30 days, right?
Yeah, less than 30 days. A lot of snow here in Salt Lake City, and we're very excited to have everybody join us. If you haven't filled out your RSVP form, please do so. We need your cell phone numbers and names of everyone attending. One really fun thing that I will not reveal all, but we are going to have one of the funnest giveaways at check-in that we have ever had.
Ooh.
I don't know how else to tease that out there, but I
thought it was a life-size poster of you, Stu.
Yeah, I'm going to autograph each of them.
That was the giveaway.
The gift is going on your feet. It's not slippers. It is very fun. So we are excited to share all the fun giveaways at check-in, but annual event's right around the corner. We need your RSVPs. Other than that, there is no announcements here. So we can just roll right into our program. Steve, anything else we want to do before we get started with our first guest?
No, I'm excited to introduce, in addition to Taylor, who runs Eagle U. For those of you that may not know about Eagle U is a program that was started many years ago that benefits high school and college age students who want to get a 7-year head start on their career. So it's a week-long program that we do every year. It is a nonprofit education foundation that backs it. And we have students that come from all over the country. We have scholarship programs available. We have obviously a lot of dentists who send their kids, including a dentist who sent one of those kids right here with us today, Matt, your dad, Dr. John Granados, and your mom sent you to Eagle U when you were 15 years old.
Yes. It was the best decision I didn't know they ever were going to make.
What year was that? What year was that, Matt? And where did you attend?
I attended for the first time. It was I forget, the campus was not beautiful. It was Pepperdine in Malibu.
That's where I went.
So yeah, I'm sitting right on the beach and it was just amazing. Yeah. Pepperdine. And it was, I don't know what year it was. There's been so many that they tend to blend together, but it was about almost 20 years ago.
Yeah, that's when I went.
And hats off to Dr. John and Elaine Granados. Matt and all of his siblings attended Eagle U. And One of the fun facts is the Granadoses have 2 marriages in their family that stem back to Eagle U. So Matt's sister Alicia met her future husband at Eagle U, and I had the opportunity, along with some others, to introduce Mr. Matt here to his now amazing wife, Maria, at Eagle U. So it's the Eagle U family.
Results.
I thought you were gonna. I thought, Steve, you were gonna say that you had the amazing opportunity to marry them.
I did not marry
that would have
them.
been amazing.
I did not do that, although there was an Eagle U connection in how the 2 of them got together. So
very cool.
So Matt's going to share some today. Likewise, Taylor came through the first time I met Taylor, I think you were 15, right, Taylor?
Mm-hmm.
And I will never forget that. And Taylor, I love Taylor. Taylor is one of the most capable people I have ever met. And she demonstrated that very early on when we first met, and went through the program, came back several times as a team leader, and runs the program and continues to just do an amazing job. So those of you that have students that attend Eagle U, or if you're thinking about having a 15 to, I don't know, do we have an age limit, Taylor?
Don't.
Yeah, so
30-year-olds there. So
we start at 15 and on up. Usually high school, college age is the typical age range, and we have a little different curriculum for the college students versus the high school students based on their experience and what they're going through. But it's everything from, I kind of call it a contrarian course. Matt, would that be a fair?
Very much so.
Basically, it's everything. As a parent, it's everything that you want your children to know, but they may not listen to you because, you're their parent. But we kind of take a contrarian viewpoint of everything that you're traditionally told. Like we show the students how to get a job without using a resume. Our study skills section is taught by Ron White, who is a former USA memory champion. He shows them how to study less and make better grades. So it's a lot of things. It's like it's kind of like a Scooby-Doo. It's like, wait, what? Study less and make better grades? Yeah, we show you how to use your brain so you can get better results in a shorter amount of time, how the world really works. And one of my favorites and the whole program, which kind of leads into one of our first guests, is we do a mentor session near the end of the program. We ramp up to this all week, where the students get the opportunity to sit down and mentor with top people in different professions, to copy genius, to find out the things that made them successful that they're willing to share. And it's really a highlight of the whole experience when they discover that there really are people out there that are willing to share their very best. So with that, Taylor, do you want to introduce our first guest?
Yes, so our first guest, we wanted to bring on a parent who has sent children through this program and who has also been a mentor. So they've seen it firsthand. And so we're going to bring on my father, Tim Shetler. He is going to come on and kind of share what it's like being a parent. And seeing that perspective, since we're talking to a lot of parents. So as soon as he's connected.
There he is.
Hey, good morning, everyone.
Direct from the Rocky Mountains in Colorado. I love the backdrop there, Mr.
Well,
Tim.
here, let me give you the real backdrop. If you can see out my window.
Oh,
there you go.
Out there?
That is a little bit bright. You can't.
It's
really
a whiteout. I love it. Yeah, good.
Boomers and computers, they just don't understand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me talk on my cell phone on speakerphone. She loves that.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Dad, I thought about wearing the headlamp that you got me for Christmas.
I could be doing, that'd be great.
Yeah. Anyways, so back to the point of this conversation. There's a lot of parents on here that might be thinking about sending their kids to Eagle U. And so instead of us talking about the program, wanted to ask you from the parent perspective, what made you send both myself and then Hunter through the program many years ago?
Well, this is a great story because, it's it has shown exactly what your program is all about. And I've watched it firsthand for I don't know how many years now, 15, 16,
Yeah.
15 years.
It's been a minute.
It's been a minute. It's been a minute. I remember she had wanted, when she won Miss Teen Colorado, she got her chance to go ahead and get us half scholarships. We paid for the other half to come and attend the session. And I had no idea what this was about. We looked it up on the internet, but it was like, okay, great. Let's send her. Well, when she came back, I will say without a doubt, she was a changed person. Absolutely. I mean, she was a go-getter to begin with, but when she came back from that session, I had never seen anything like that in my life. And one
So
of the
Deb, can we talk about Hunter though? Because that's so great.
well, I know, but look, I will. Let me get to this first, because this is a great, what I love about your program is the dream board is so critical to me in what you guys do and how you do it. Because she came home with that dream board, and I still remember like it was yesterday. At the top was, I will be the executive director of Eagle University. Now, to come back at that age and say, I know what I want to do. Heck, I still don't know what I want to do. And she is coming back with this board looking and had it pinned up on her wall in her room, just like you told her to. Keep it outside her door. So every day when she walks out, she knows what she's aiming at. And I still remember the call when she called me and said, Dad, guess what? Steve called me and it's time. I'm going to take over Eagle U. Now, as a parent, I can't tell you what, that's the ultimate dream. It's the ultimate dream. Now you quick fast forward and flip to Hunter, my youngest son, who, quite frankly, and I'll just be blunt honest here, was not exactly the easiest child. Plenty of potential, but what a pain in the, you know what, okay? And the kids nicknamed him Damien, if that gives you an idea, okay? So he needed some direction, and Taylor convinced me, we're pushing hard to go, hey, let's get him to Eagle U. It's really going to help him. And I said, of course, it did for you. And we were surprised. I didn't think he would go, number one. And two, I didn't think he was going to participate. Well, he did. He went, he participated. I think that was the start of him really feeling like, wait a second, I need to get a focus in my life. Yeah. Now, this kid has loved flying. He built simulators in our basement.
Wow.
Yeah, he bought all the components and built underneath the steps of the house. He built a simulator.
Wow.
Well, he was into it for a while, then he struggled, fell off, wasn't going after it, went to Eagle U, came back, and it's really started to get refocused on what he wants to do. And ironically enough, today on his 29th birthday, he is taking his first flight as a first officer, and there he is, as a first officer for Key Lime Air, Denver Air Connections, and he will be flying passengers up to Scottsbluff, Iowa, or Scottsbluff, South Dakota today.
Nice. You're not on the first flight, Tim?
I wanted to be. Trust me, I wanted to be. Well, he's I'm not. Trust. We talked about getting the whole doggone plane, but so he's up there right now, waiting to get to see what happens. But hopefully I'll take a picture of your plane and your tail number. And we're going to celebrate. But the point of it is it's the focus that these kids get. Here's another example. If you remember Stan Luhr, my friend that came, was one of the mentors.
Yes.
He had a young gentleman come through the mentor day and sat with Stan, and he was from the same town. And they talked about him wanting to be in the same, get into IT work and do all this. And Stan said, well, I'll tell you what, I've got an internship. Why don't you come out? He did, and he still works for Stan.
How cool! So Stan came as a mentor, and he ended up with an employee.
He did.
It happens every once in a while.
He did. No, it's been phenomenal to watch.
That's cool. Tim, will you share your experience as a mentor? You've done it several times, for which we're very appreciative. But what has that experience been like for you, and what did you get out of it as a mentor? You came to give to the students, and I think you got some unexpected things in return.
That is for sure. Number one, it is a very enlightening and very positive feel for the kids that you see, and you go, wow, there is still hope for our next generation, because these kids do get it. Yeah. And we struggle in today's world. We know what we see. And these kids do get it, and they come in. I watch these kids come in from the beginning and then leave. And not the same, young person. They sat in front of me and asked questions that I still wouldn't have thought of asking. And just very insightful, thoughtful questions about, and they really do care about where they want to go. And they're very serious. I mean, I had some kids ask some questions. Like, wow, I've interviewed people all my life for 30 years and I've never had a question like that. And
Yeah.
they were very impressive. And you get it from all walks of life. You get it from a kid who's coming out of the country in Kansas or Oklahoma or something, to who's someone's living in New York City, and different backgrounds, but they all have the same goal and the same thought in their head when they're coming through there. And that was just very impressive to me.
Well,
And
we appreciate all your support through the years, especially coming back year over year and being a mentor and helping join the effort to have a positive impact to make a difference. So thank you for your example, and thanks for raising a great daughter.
Thanks, Dad. Yep. Thank you guys. You guys have a great day.
Thanks, Tim.
You too.
Coming on.
See you, Tim.
Bye.
Man, Taylor, I thought I needed to mute you there for a sec, going after your dad.
Sorry. You get off the holidays and it's just.
You've never seen them interact? That's the
Man,
reason I said I'd come on.
jeez. Very cool. Hey,
Do we have
Lindsay's.
Lindsay?
Yeah, she's in the waiting room. We're ready for her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Taylor, will you introduce Lindsay? This is an awesome story.
Yes. So, Steve, I think you know her family and her better than I do. Would you like to
Yeah.
introduce?
I really would. So there she is. Lindsay, good day.
Hi, Lindsay.
So
Hi, how are you?
Lindsay is tuning in from Mexico. What part of Mexico, Lindsay?
I am in Guanajuato, Mexico.
Guanajuato, which is a gorgeous city.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's awesome. So I was just going to introduce you to everybody. So Lindsay Dominguez is what I would classify, Lindsay, if this is accurate, so a first generation citizen and a first gen college graduate, a big Texas A&M grad.
Nice.
And Lindsay has been through Eagle U. She's come back as a team leader as well, and is a true go-getter. Has done some amazing things. So, Lindsay, maybe you can just share with everybody just real quick about your Eagle U experience.
Well, obviously, as you guys know, Eagle U is kind of that week-long experience that kind of gives you that roadmap to be successful in whichever career you're in, and giving you that competitive advantage wherever you go. I've been able to kind of apply these skills outside of Eagle U, and I always get the wow factor of, well, how do you know all these things? And it's really easy to be like, oh, it was because I learned it at Eagle U. I think for an example, like goal setting, Eagle U kind of gives you that compass to kind of lead you in a direction, but also gives you the opportunity to set those attainable goals so that you're able to kind of have them on your phone, on your planner, to kind of look at those goals every single day. So then you can then attain them, because we kind of set that timestamp on them. Kind of like how you said, Steve, I am first generation college student. So it's kind of always I'm not innately smart, but at Eagle U, with the study skills, I've been able to kind of use those skills to then use them when I'm talking to my professors, when I'm studying for my classes, kind of asking them those right questions. So if I have a question about my career later on, I'm able to then kind of get that response from them, and then learn a little bit more about what is needed for each career.
Love it. What would you tell somebody if they were thinking about considering sending their high school or college student, or sponsoring a student to come to Eagle U? What would you advise them?
I think it's a great opportunity to send your student to Eagle U. You will learn these life skills that you won't learn anywhere else. I know many of my peers are always struggling with what do I do now? But at Eagle U, you're kind of given that roadmap to be successful, to know what you're going to do a year from now, 2 years from now. And I think you don't get that anywhere else other than at Eagle U. So I think it's a huge opportunity to kind of lead your student or your daughter, your son in the right direction for their future.
Very cool.
Nice.
Thank you, Lindsay. Enjoy your new year in Mexico. You're coming back. School starts, let's see, when?
It starts in January.
Okay. So you're coming
Oh,
back.
By the way, because of Eagle, I'm going to say a little personal statement.
Yes.
I actually got to be a part of a Amazon show called The College Tour. I got to speak out at I think it was a student panel, and they absolutely loved the way I portrayed myself. And they were like, we need you on this show. So I actually will have that show will be aired in April, or that episode for A&M. So I will send that in y'all's direction. So
yeah, I would love
that
to see.
isn't enough to send your student to Eagle U. I don't know what else is.
That's
You're
awesome.
Very cool.
Thank you, Lindsay. Great job.
All right, Lindsay, please wish your family a happy new year, and thank you for finding a Wi-Fi spot to
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. I got it.
the best. All right.
you,
Thanks,
Lindsay.
Lindsay.
Bye.
See ya.
Did she say how she got connected with Eagle U? Did I miss that?
Yeah. So her direct connection was her brother Osvaldo. He goes by Oz for short. Oz came through Eagle U first. He's older brother, and then invited her to follow along after
Cool. Very
she
cool.
was of age. So yeah, that is a typical occurrence. We have siblings, friends, all kinds of stuff. So it's great. So with that, we thought we'd share some goal setting tips for the new year. And Matt and I put together some I think some common mistakes that we see. And this is, not just for high school and college students. I think this is all of us. I get asked frequently, is there an age limit to Eagle U? And because most of the things that we teach are universally applicable. Just quick backstory, the idea to do this program came from the participants that went through and continue to go through our seminars at Total Patient Service, come through the Crown Council events, and the request originally was, can you do something similar to this for my high school or college student? I would have loved to have known a lot of these same principles earlier on. And so that's where the whole idea of doing this came from. And we've been doing it for a little bit. So going on, this will be our 31st year. We've done the program. So it's we have multi-generations. It's fun. We actually have students who now have parents that went through the program. So we're on to Gen 2, which is really cool. So we put together just a quick presentation, just a little bit of backstory. Matt is a very serious entrepreneur, has put together many different companies that have been very successful. And one of those is a training company. And so like me, at Total Patient Service, Matt has a training company where he gets the opportunity to work with organizations and companies all over the country. And part of what he does is this focus of how do you set objectives and goals that energize the organization and actually get accomplished. So we're going to share some things that we don't typically share at Eagle U. So this is kind of in addition to, and some things that we hope will help everybody. You can use these things in your dental practice. You can use them at home. We are going to repeat this kind of in webinar format tonight. So if you have a young person that would like to join us, or if you want to join us with family members or friends tonight at 7:00 Central Time, Taylor will give you the login information that as when we get done. So achieving your biggest goals faster in 2023. So we're going to give you three main takeaways, three main things. I've tried to keep this simple. I'm a simple-minded guy, so simple-minded people come up with simple ideas, and simplicity really fast forwards the what happens. So we hope that these will be things you'll add in to your goal setting resolution process. So number one is not just to decide what you're going to do, but why it matters. Why it really matters to you, to the people around you. What's the real purpose behind what you're going to do? Too often we'll set goals on, what we're going to do, but it's more the engine and the fuel is why we're going to do it. So as an example of that, one of the most frequently set goals in America, Taylor, is
lose weight.
You got it. That's probably the most free, especially this time of year, the most frequently set goal in America. And I'm going to use that as an example here several times in the next few minutes. And as an example of the power of this, I do work with a trainer, and one of the habits that he has created that makes a big difference is, as we're working together, he always takes me back to the why are you doing this? And he asked me that question. He's, why are you doing this? What's the reason? Why does it really matter to you? And what's the impact that it's going to have on yourself and other people? Because the really understanding what the reasoning is. So here would be the tip. It's one of my favorite words, and it is the word, Matt. What is it?
Because.
And there's several different applications of this. Those of you that have been through our TOPS Total Immersion course will recognize this word because we use it a lot in a specific case acceptance application. But the challenge here would be, as you work through goals for the upcoming year, that you insert the word because, which is, here's the goal, because why? What's the impact it's going to have on you, on those that are important to you? What's the real reason that you want to do it? And that adds fuel to that whole deal. So how you structure it matters. So Matt, I know you're a big structure guy on how things are put together. So in addition to understanding and defining the why, and you do this because, what other structural tips do you have for us?
Yeah, I think the biggest mistake I find when I'm working with people, and even myself, if I'm setting my own goals and trying to achieve them, because this is stuff that we have to constantly remind ourselves of at the same time, is making sure that we have a structure behind what we're doing that allows us to re-engage the original intention when we set the goal, right? It's like January 1st. I don't go to the gym the first 2 months in January. I'll go outside. I'd rather run in the snow than go to the gym. And January 1st,
it's way too crowded.
Exactly. And you're spending more time waiting than you are working out. And the reason why is because everyone's still intentional what they said they want to do. And that's where people fall off. So what type of structure can we do? So because I'm not very good at naming things, we call this the structure of success, that you can adapt how you see fit, but it breaks down the year on how can we ensure that either myself, my family, my team, if your practice, right, is achieving these goals, is by focusing on daily actions, weekly planning, monthly reset and review, and then quarterly redefine. And then you annually go on a retreat and you actually set your goals. So the reason why we break it down this way is because I can only take the action today. I can't take the action tomorrow. I can't wish I would have taken the action the day before. The weekly planning gives us this perfect amount of time that a day's too short and a month's too long. As humans, we tend to need a finish line. Some of the best leaders to motivate people to do stuff puts what I call an artificial finish line, meaning, hey, I need it done by Friday. Why? Elon Musk does this with, when he's sending people to Mars, was he would just send random people at Tesla and say, hey, or at SpaceX, we need you to get to Mars. How would you do it if we had to do it by Friday? And it was this exciting thing, but great ideas came from it. So having that deadline of a week, the monthly kind of reset and the monthly redirect is kind of the better word for it. It allows us to actually look, hey, here's what the actions I've been taking. So if we're trying to lose weight and I'm eating a pack of Oreos every day, I should check myself and go, hey, that action. As
double stuff, Matt?
Well, I stuff extra in it, right? When you put ice cream in it.
Ice cream.
Actually, Maria's gonna kill me, but that's one of her pregnant desserts right now is ice cream in an Oreo. So
You're treading on delicate turf here, Matt.
I love her and I'm so
Careful.
proud of her, and she is just as authentic as they come.
Sending
But
her
it's
this clip.
delicious. Anyway, if my actions aren't producing the results I want, then I need to change my actions. And too many people get obsessed with the actual goal that we've set and not the action. So on a weekly basis, we do the plan. On a monthly basis, we can redirect ourselves. And then a quarterly basis, we reset. And this is the part that's so much fun because a lot of times once a year, we'll set our goals and we should still have them. There's no question. Annual goals are great for business, but on a quarterly basis is when we actually are making sure we're hitting these benchmarks. And it has
So we get to celebrate New Year's 4 times this year?
4 times without the repercussions of the parties, right? So it's a better way. January 1st, you've eaten everything from the holidays. Then you have every quarter. It's a new day, a new fight. And I'm telling you, it allows individuals, especially me. I can't really stay focused for a year, but I can do something for 90 days.
Love it.
That's what we found allows us to re-engage that intention.
Love that tip. So I love the idea of what I call quarterly sprints.
Yeah.
So it's like, shorter time window and you're going to sprint to that and then reevaluate. So great structural suggestions, Matt. All right. So here's the next structural piece. This is a simple idea. And it is commonly missed. All right. So Stu, this is a quiz question for you.
Okay.
You have a 50% greater chance of reaching a goal if you do this one simple thing. Any guesses?
I would say either write it down or tell somebody.
You got it. So it is write it down. And actually, I'll give you the companion principle to this. So first off, this is based on some research that was done at Dominican University. Let me give you the backstory on this because this is fascinating. There was an urban legend that circulated for decades about a study that was done at Yale University or Harvard University, those were interchanged, about this goal-setting study that was done back in the 1950s. And they surveyed the students to see how many of them had written down their goals, and then they followed them for decades, and they found that those who had written down their goals had accomplished more than everybody else who hadn't written down their goals. So that was I'm kind of paraphrasing, but that was an urban legend that circulated for decades. Fast Company magazine did an extensive research project and could not find one shred of actual evidence that study was ever done. So I don't know where it came from. Somebody made it up and then it just, people kept repeating it, but there is no evidence that study was ever done. So a team at Dominican University in California thought they would try and replicate it in some way, shape, or form. So they did a study of their own. And what they found in general, and this has all been documented, peer-reviewed, the whole deal, is that in general, you have a 50% greater chance of accomplishing a goal if it is, yes, written down. So we do have scientific documented evidence that does make a difference. So it's a simple deal and very often overlooked. So write it down. And Stu, you're exactly right. You have a 100% better chance, 100%, if it's written down with regular accountability. So if you have an accountability partner, somebody that you report into on a regular basis, preferably every week, that you account to them on your actions, like Matt has just suggested, so that you have an accountability partner. Now, there's a phrase that I take exception to. This is one of my Steve's peeves. Any of you that follow me on Instagram, I have a lot of them. And this is one of them. And it's the phrase, holding you accountable. Matt, we're going to hold you accountable.
Can't wait.
And what I hold is I don't want to be associated, or I don't want to be on the same team with someone who has to be held accountable, because if they're not willing to account, if I've got to hold Matt accountable, it's like, then I got to do double the work. So the reverse of that is that I take personal accountability and I find an accountability partner or someone to which I will account on a regular basis. They're not holding me accountable as much as I am holding myself accountable with them as a partner, that we set a regular schedule and work together. So it's a minor difference, but it places the responsibility where it rests, which is, if it's important enough to me, then I should take the responsibility on the accountability side. So Matt, we are not going to hold you accountable.
I appreciate that, Steve.
And you're going to hold yourself accountable. So
That is good.
50% greater chance if you have it written down. So simple thing, but highly recommend just write it down in whatever way, shape, or form. Matt, I don't think it has to be fancy or perfect. Just that one simple deal, whether it's as a team or individually, get it down on paper. Now, here's the formula. This is what I call, this is the Tom Hanks contribution to this webinar today.
Nice.
This is what I call the ping pong formula. And this actually was originally suggested to me by Heidi Grant Halverson at Harvard University, who wrote one of my favorite small little books called The 9 Things Successful People Do. And this was actually an article that she wrote that went viral and became very, very popular. And I've named it the ping pong principle. She did not call it that. But basically, what she says is that science shows that the mind automatically is drawn toward analyzing gaps, discrepancies. We're wired for discrepancies, where things are too short, where we don't have enough. Where there's not enough to go around. And so her suggestion is that you write the goal in this format, which is also congruent with the guys who wrote the 4 Disciplines of Execution, which we have had as guests and mentors at the annual event twice. Mm-hmm. And that is from X to Y by when. So from where I am today to where I need to go by what date. So if we were going to go back to the goal setting example, it would be from 200 pounds to 160 pounds by December 31st. Then if you then follow Matt's advice of having these regular check-ins, the monthly redirect and the quarterly reset, I'm constantly then, as that gap narrows, then it's going to be from 190 to 160 by December, and then 180 to 160 by December. So we're always focused on filling the gap. What do I have to do to close the gap? So from X to Y by when, because then your mind's constantly going back and forth. What do I have to do to now get to that distance that remains? So if you want a formula, I love formulas. It simplifies the deal. But that's a great structural formula for just writing down a goal from X to Y by when. Easier, obviously, if you have something you can measure. So this is a student example. So if I were going to write it in X to Y by when format, it would be from the B average to straight A's by graduation. Or if I were going to take this semester or this 9-week grading period, it would be from where I am now to all A's or all 90% or plus in every class. So X to Y by when. I've already given you the weight loss example as 2 simple examples of how to use that format. Okay, so this next tip is based on the 80-20 rule, which is one of my favorites. And the 80-20 rule, as everybody knows, says that 80% of the result, 80% of everything comes from 20% of something, right? So it's the little things that end up being the big things. So in economics, it says that 80% of the money is in the hands of 20% of the people. In goal setting, it is that the actual setting the goal is 20%. And then there's this 80%, which is the actions that you choose to take that will lead you to that goal, right? And Matt, I know you're a big habit guy. So you can share with us the structure here. Here's as we've talked about, what do I need to do to close the gap by this date? And I'll give this one example, and then Matt, you can share yours with us, is It's the habit, not just the goal. So what's the habit I'm going to create that will help me get to the goal? So back to our weight loss example, Taylor, what is the number one habit that contributes most to successful weight loss? The number one habit. You've got your choice of diet, exercise, hanging around with fit people. What would be the number one habit?
Writing in your food journal.
Correct. So the science says that keeping a food journal, you have to track all of the stuff that you're shoving in your mouth. You actually have to track it. That keeping a food journal will rapidly accelerate the weight loss goal over and above any other habit, more than exercise, more than committing to a specific diet. I mean, those things are important, activity and what you eat, but the food journal is a small habit, daily action that will get you faster, lead you faster to that goal. So what's the habit? What's the activity, Matt?
Yeah. So when it comes to, real quick, you want me to talk what the habit is or what the one that I like to use for this?
The one you like to use.
I got you. Sorry. So when I was doing, I had an issue, back to my wife, Maria. It tends to be where most of my goals come from.
Is Maria around? Does Maria have
No,
an
she's at the gym working
herself?
out. She's working out right now, obviously. So it goes in line with this. But she came to me and reminded me that my physical goals were fairly weak. And she tells me that regularly, and that's why she motivates me. She doesn't keep me accountable, but she motivates me. And she said, and I said,
did she walk in and look at you and go, not working, just not working good?
There's other noises she makes, not it's other things. But that's a whole nother part of the conversation.
She'll be on next week with us. That's good.
Exactly. I know I won't be. So anyway, she tells me that, and I say, I'm going to sign up and I'm going to do an Ironman. I said, I'm going to do the hardest thing I possibly can just to prove to you that I can do it. I just choose not to. I don't enjoy it. For all you people who like to work out, I don't enjoy it. I don't get that endorphin at all. It doesn't happen for me. But when I went and got a coach, right, because that's kind of how I do everything. I find someone who's done what I've done, right, came through Eagle U at 15. I learned the concept of a mentor, and I've used it for every single thing I've ever done. And he would always give me these amount of times to go on the bike. When I talk about I didn't know what I was doing, I showed up for the first swim in board shorts, and they were like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm going in the pool." They're like, "We don't wear bathing like that." Go in the slow lane. I didn't.
Where's your Speedo, Matt?
I didn't know that was an option. I didn't even have a bike at the time when I signed up for this thing. I was so out of my realm. But anyway, stubbornness and determination takes a long way sometimes. And my coach kept saying, "Hey, I want you to go ride the bike for 2 hours. Go ride the bike for 3 hours, 4 hours, 6 hours." And I would get so frustrated because I would want a destination. I'd want the goal. I'd want to go for 100 miles. And it's so beautiful what you're talking about with this gap, because a lot of the reason why people give up on goals is they feel they're so far away from the destination. They don't realize how far they've come from the starting point. Progress is the reason why we can stay motivated through this, which is what I love about that. And then what we started doing was he would give me these time trials. I had to sit on the bike. And I took that. I said, how do I incorporate that in the rest of my life? And when it came to goals, there was always the leading and the lagging, right? Like you talked about, Steve, and I call them action-based or result-based goals. But there was another type of goal that I've never heard of that we started using, and we call them time-based goals. And all it is setting an amount of time to do an action. So when I was writing a book, our first book, writing is not a strong suit of mine. I wanted to write it for so long. Years after years, I've wanted to write it. It was always a goal I never actually accomplished. And eventually I would just set 90-minute, I call them time chunks, to accomplish this goal, and it would be uninterrupted.
Smart.
And in about 3 months, the book was written. Well, the rough draft, then it was the editor's issues, right? But the book was written, and it was this thing I've been putting off for so long. So what we do is we take the result-based goals that we're looking towards, like what Steve was talking about, having the X and Y, right? X to Y by when, and then we'll add time chunks that we will put towards that goal. Now, I want to make it very clear is when I would put a time chunk in to write, sometimes I'd get a chapter, maybe 3 chapters, and other times I would get nothing. But after the time chunk was done, I could easily close my book up and walk away and get back to the rest of my life.
Yeah.
And we don't have a time issue. We have a spending issue. And that's what these time chunks allow us to put the time in to close these gaps and minimize these gaps in a very efficient and effective way.
Love it. In fact, one of the great Peter Drucker pieces of advice, for those who are not familiar with that name, he's one of the great management geniuses of the last century. And his formula for time management was exactly that, Matt, 90-minute blocks of uninterrupted time. And if you want to accomplish anything, that's what he recommended, whether it's for a meeting or a project or whatever, you dedicate the time. So whether it's a time or it's an activity, I was sharing with Matt earlier that at our house, the similar application is Mike Springer, who's been the piano teacher at our house for over 20 years and has actually been a guest presenter at the annual event years past. But Mike does something similar. It's not time, but it's activities. So the assignment is you're going to practice these 5 measures 5 times a day. Doesn't matter how long it takes you. If it takes you 20 minutes to do them or 5 minutes, but you're going to play this 5 times every day. And so the daily assignment, the daily habit is you got to go through and do the repetitions every day. So whether it's building a skill, whether it's a time-based commitment or doing a certain activity X number of times, it's a great way to fill in the gap with what's the activity that's going to lead me to goal. What's the habit I need to create that'll get me closer to the goal? So here's one of my favorite formulas for habit creation, which is one of the easiest ways to create a habit is to attach it to another habit. So attach it to something that you're in the habit of doing already. So for example, if there's something consistent, so let's go back to the piano example. At our house, this is the formula when, then. So when this happens, then this is what follows. So at our house, it's when, if one of my kids were writing this, it would be when I get home from school, then I sit down on the piano and I do all of my assignments, right? So those two, because we know that every day they're going to come from school, then what are we going to attach to that? So if you have let's do the diet example again. When I open the refrigerator for a snack, I grab a glass of water and I drink the whole glass before I eat something. So it's just attaching. So another example would be, when I wake up, when my alarm goes off at 5 a.m., I get on the treadmill. Or if you have another habit, when my alarm goes off at 6 o'clock, I'm writing down 3 things for which I'm grateful. So the whole idea is form a new habit by attaching it to something that is a regular occurrence that you know you're going to be doing anyway. So those 2 things become connected. All right, so there's some examples of that. When it's 4 o'clock, this is a student example. When it's 4 o'clock, I'm studying for 1 hour focused without my cell phone, right? That's a when then habit, because I know if I block out the time to study, I'm not just studying because I've got an assignment. I'm studying because every day I create that habit of having that focused time. Or when I sit down at the dinner table, I log food in my food journal. So when then attach a habit, an existing habit, to the habit you want to create. Okay, the 1% better formula. So long stretches can be challenging. Short stretches can be more achievable. So Matt, your take on the 1% better each day formula.
Yeah, and this came from, I know Jon Acuff has been a guest.
And he's coming, Matt. He is coming again as a mentor at the annual event coming up next month.
That is awesome. And those listening should send their RSVPs, right, Stuart? So
Thank you, Matt. Thank you, Matt. Thank you.
Happy to do it. Anyway, but the 1% is so pivotal because, and the picture here, although it seems simple, it's so powerful. So, and Jon Acuff has written many things, the book Start, the book Finish. And one question he posed in an article in one of the books he wrote was, what's the most important part or most important day of any goal? And we all start throwing answers out the first day, the last day. Then you start answers that don't even make sense, like the Tuesday, right? You start trying to figure out what is he trying to get to. And he responds back with an amazing answer. He says, the most important day of any goal is the first day you're not perfect. And what this comes down to is the same concept of, we'll use the gym and we'll use the Oreos, right? We'll leave the ice cream out this time, but your goal is to get healthier, to change your lifestyle and lose weight. And then what happens is something throws you off. You will go to the gym 7 days, January 1st, January 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th. And then the 7th, you decide not to go. And for some reason, the way humans naturally act, and this is why this concept that Steve keeps saying, it's very common knowledge, it's not commonly used, is because humans, we're pretty predictable on what we do. The average person would sit back, throw their hands up, and after one day of not being perfect, assume the goal is now lost. And I'm done. I missed the day. I might as well just stop, right? I ate a bad meal, so therefore, right, I don't need to be on this healthy kick anymore. I might as well just stop logging my food. So what we focus on is what we call push tasks. Push tasks are simply a task that you don't have to do every day, but you can do any day. And when we break down we call them 90-day goal rushes, but when we break down what people need to do is we always make sure each goal has a push task to it. So to Steve's point, when you go into the refrigerator and you grab a glass of water, one of the push tasks for some of our people from a physical perspective is drink a certain amount of water that day. Or today, I'm going to focus on eating healthy. And what I found is it doesn't take much to fall off the track, but it also doesn't take much to get back on track. But we need this conscious reminder to take the right actions. So we do small steps. So if it's relational, if you want to build a relationship or fix a relationship, I call them toy texts, right? Sorry, Steve, this is another little thing we do. TOY, thinking of you texts. Maria laughs all the time because I send her these texts. I'll do it after this. Anytime I think about Maria or talk about her, I have a rule to myself that I need to remind her that I love her. It's a habit that I've created, and she laughs because she gets them and she's like, here's another one. Sometimes she's sitting next to me and I have to do it, right? But it gives this feeling of, hey, I'm just thinking of you. Doesn't have to be much. That's a push task from a relational perspective. If you want to do,
is your text today going to say, "Oh, I'm thinking of you, Maria. In fact, I told everybody you're pregnant and you eat Oreos when you're pregnant."
I was going to add a pack of Oreos to the text. Amazon's a beautiful thing these days, but no, it's just doing these small steps and setting ourselves up for one, not to achieve the goal, but to get back on track. And that's the key to these push tasks. What's going to push the needle forward or push me back up on the horse, whatever metaphor you want to think of what happens. So you miss a day of the gym, fantastic. What are you going to do? I'm going to stretch for 15 minutes. Perfect. You did your task. Don't beat yourself up. Get after it tomorrow.
Love it. Love it. Love it. Okay. So here's some summary action items. Number 1, write them down. So, and if you want the simple formula from X to Y by when, and then what are the habits you're going to form that will most likely lead you to the accomplishment of that goal. So identify 3 habits for each goal and use the when then format. So when I'm doing this, then this is what happens. The action that you'll take that will lead you to that goal. So 2 simple things out of what we've talked about today. We've shared, a lot of ideas, but those would be 2 simple takeaways as you reconsider the path ahead. One of the interesting pieces that we know is that less is more. So this is counterintuitive. The fewer goals you set, the more likely you are to accomplish more. And so, I had somebody the other day, Stuart, that said to me, well, then why set goals at all?
Smart.
You got to set at least one. But 20 goals is not as advisable as 1 or 2 that will then influence all the other things that you do. So 2 action suggestions there as you go through the new year habit. And Taylor has a resource for everyone. So this is just a goal setting worksheet that'll help you identify what the goal is in the proper format from X to Y by when, and then 3 habits for each goal. So if you want to do a team workshop with your dental team, or you want to do this at home, Matt, we have, as you know, at our house, We do this at least twice a year. So we do it at New Year's, and then we actually do it 3 times a year: New Year's, June, and September. So New Year's, we set goals, and then June when school gets out, and then September when school starts. So Taylor, tell everybody how they get a copy of the goal setting sheet.
You can email me. My email address is right there. It's just taylor@eagleuniversity.org, and I will send you the PDF printable copy.
You got it. And we're actually going to repeat this webinar tonight. Taylor, if people want to rejoin.
At 7 p.m. Central Time, we are going to do this. So if you want to bring your kids on here and your family, your spouse, that would be awesome. You can email me again at that same email address, and I will email you back directly with the Zoom link and password for tonight's webinar.
Perfect. Excellent.
Nice.
Thank you, Taylor, for all your great work and all you do to put together a great program. And Matt, it was awesome to be with you today and do this. I always love Matt and I spend quite a bit of time on stage at Eagle U together every year. And it's always fun to work with you. So thank you. And Stuart, thank you for having us
Thanks, everybody.
on today.
Happy to do it. Thank you.
All righty. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you tonight, right?
You got it. 7 p.m. Central.
Okay. Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Stu.
See ya.